How you doing? So this is just the answer key with how to solve all the problems. I don't expect you to need to see all the problems. I think you'll do pretty well on most of them. So feel free to fast forward if you want, past anything that you need. So this first video will probably be the first half of the problems, and the second video will be the second half of the problems. So let's just assume that 1 through 8, and then the next one will be 9 through 16. So the first question really isn't that complicated. The one thing I just want to go over with you depends on what you use for pi. Okay, so obviously circumference is 2 pi r or pi d. In this case, we have the radius. We'll just use 2 pi r. So that's going to be 2 times pi times 4. I'm sorry, times 2, which is really just 4 pi. And now since we have these little squiggles, we know it's about. We need to come up to 2 decimal places. Now, if you're using 3.14 for pi, that's totally fine. If you do, you're going to get an answer that's 12.56. However, if you use the little pi button on your phone, calculator, whatever it happens to be, you will get 12.57. Okay? Really doesn't matter which one you used. It really doesn't matter which answer you get. I'll accept both of them, so don't worry too much about that. Okay. Area of a circle, if you remember, it's just pi r squared. So in this case, we have a radius, so it's pretty nice. So it's just 169 pi. This one, it doesn't matter which one you use, 3.14 or the pi button. It will give you the same answer of 530.66 kilometers squared. Okay. Now we get to the next one. It's the area of a semicircle, and the semicircle is half of a circle. So if it is pi r squared, well, obviously the area of half of it's going to be pi r squared divided by 2. So you got to be careful. Just because this says 14, that's not the number you use. 14 is the diameter. You need the radius. Okay, so this is pi times 7 squared divided by 2. When you get to the end, multiply that out, that becomes 676.93 centimeters squared. Now this one gets slightly more complicated. Remember, this was, you have to find the area of a complex or composite shape. So you have to find the area of both. So here we have a right triangle. The area of a triangle is 1/2 base times the height. Remember, we said the base and the height are the two sides that form the right angle. So this is the base and this is the height. So it's 1/2 times 9.3 times 12.4. Okay. And that comes out to be 57. Oops, it's supposed to be 0.66. I'll make sure, yeah, I did write the right number there. Okay. And then this one's easy. It's just a rectangle, so that comes out to be 192.2. Add those up, and you come out to 249.86. Okay. This one I just wrote out. I think this one was relatively simple. Obviously, that little mark means it's 90 degrees, so these two add up to 90. Find the whole thing, comes out to be 37. So, oops, I made a mistake. That's not supposed to be there. Oops, sorry about that. That is not there because X is not a degree mark. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Now, this one's slightly more complicated. So if you notice, we're just, again, in this case, we're trying to just find X. So if you notice, these two angles form a straight angle, which is 180 degrees. So we have 10x plus the other angle, which is 26x. Those add up to 180. So 36x is 180. Divide both sides by 36. X equals 5. So the answer for this one is 5. Now, that's because it asked for X. Let's say it asked for, find X and find the angles. Well, then you'd have to come in here and say, okay, so this would be 50, and this would be whatever 26 times 5 is, 130. Okay. Let's say you needed to name an angle. Okay. I don't believe you'll have the opportunity to use an actual angle sign. But let's say you had to do that. Here you could just write the word you could write the word angle, C-A-B. That always works if you don't have the ability to write an angle sign. I know it doesn't ask you for that here. Okay, but that's just something that you could do. You might come across in the quiz. Okay, next one. A photograph of a full moon is enlarged so that the diameter appears 2 times larger. How much larger does the circumference of the moon appear? Well, the formula for the circumference is pi times the diameter. So it doesn't matter what the diameter is. Let's just call the diameter, we'll just call it D. Make it easy. Well, if the diameter is 2 times larger, that means it's really pi times 2 times D. Well, how much bigger is this than this? It's clearly 2. Okay, I don't think that one's too bad. Next one, is it possible to create a quadrilateral from the following angle measures? Well, one thing you need to remember is the sum of the angles in a quadrilateral is 360. Okay, so obviously you add these up. So how would you answer it? In this case, yes, because 4 angles add up to 360 degrees, which is the number of degrees in a quad of the 4 angles in a quadrilateral. Okay. Oh my goodness, you can barely read that. Okay, let's just make sure that sounds good. Yes, because 4 angles add up to 360 degrees, which is the number of degrees of the 4 angles of a quadrilateral. That might be a little long. You can probably just cut it off right there.